Vox Box Star Wars Comic Book Podcast, Episode 25. Hey, Baron Tag? Geordie LaForge called. He wants his eyeballs back.
What is thy bidding, my master?
There is great disturbance in the force.
The Vox Box Star Wars Podcast. Your source for Star Wars comics, news, and more. And now your host, Michael Corley.
Welcome back to Vox Box Star Wars Comic Book Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Corley. Thank you so much for listening today. We are covering Star Wars number 25, titled Siege at Yavin. Remember that iconic scene when there's the lookout post on Yavin 4 and there's the dude on top of it and he's looking out and he's doing a lookout and everything? Well, he's getting shot. There's a TIE fighter coming in and it blasts the lookout tower, sending that man spiraling to his death. We see the various Y-Wings and TIE fighters scrambling to defend the Yavin base. By the way, I find this kind of funny because from the very beginning of this comic, when we started with number 7 after A New Hope, the whole time they've been looking for another base for the Yavin 4. And they've never left the whole time. It's supposed to have been years. I think the Empire knows where they are. They came with the Death Star to destroy them. But anyway, sure, let's go for it. We see the TIE fighters fighting the X-Wings, and we see an X-Wing fall, paying the ultimate price to defend the base while the people try to run. The interesting thing is, while there are many TIE fighters attacking, they can't find any trace of an Imperial cruiser. The TIE fighters should not have been able to get here all by themselves. They don't know what's going on. We cut to Centaures. We see Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, and the droids. They are talking to Jorman Thode, and Jorman Thode is a used spacecraft dealer, and he's selling them a ship. Thode is exactly as smarmy as you think he is. The only difference between a used car salesman on Earth and a spaceship used salesman is the spaceship used salesman wear a cape. In fact, we see a comment from R2-D2 that C-3PO translates as, "Yes, he does seem worse than a Jawa." In an offhand comment, he mentions about a blockade going on in a certain sector. This certain sector is where Yavin 4 is. Suddenly, Leia and Luke get a very bad feeling that they need to get out of here very quickly. They are following a ship that is just about to go into warp. Leia is telling Luke that she thinks the Empire's afraid. And Luke is saying, hey, nobody has more faith in the rebellion than me, but I think the Imperial war machine isn't exactly paralyzed with fright by the ragtag rebellion. And she tells him, no, that's not what I mean. We destroyed the Death Star. That is not the kind of news that makes it easy to control the galaxy. If they don't give up, they may be able to get more systems on their side and help destroy the Empire. Now we cut to the craft that Luke and Leia are pursuing. What is this craft? It is owned by Baron Tog. We now see Baron Tog. He has some crazy space goggles, and he is fighting another man with lightsabers. And to hear this conversation, that means it's time for
Dramatic reenactment.
Come at me again, Shanks. No, you're too easy. I can't grow better unless I'm adequately challenged. One does, Shanks. At least he used to be. Darth Vader. His own lightsaber left me like this. The eldest brother of the tagline, helpless without my cyber vision. So I practice constantly with this silly, outmoded weapon of a foolish, extinct band of men. And someday, Shanks, I'll be ready. Ready to repay Darth Vader in kind, and with interest.
The Evil Baron Tog was read by returning guest reader Alan Voivod from Star Wars 7x7, the only daily Star Wars podcast, 7 minutes long, 7 days a week. Now, my show is usually about 10 minutes long, so if you like short, fun-packed podcasts, you'll love 7x7. You can find it at sw7x7.com. Thanks, Alan! Now that Baron Tog is done with his monologue, one of his crew inform him that Luke and Leia's ship has been following them. He has a very easy solution to that. They leave mines behind. Luke and Leia come out of warp, only to see that they are booby-trapped. When the ship is hit by one of the mines, R2-D2 makes a rather rude noise, a badoot! And when Luke asks C-3PO what he's saying, C-3PO tells him, "He wishes Jorman Thode were here. That was one of the shields failing." Luke is more than willing to try to blast his way out of the minefield. Unfortunately, these mines are magnetic. They're being drawn towards the hull faster than Luke will be able to maneuver away from them. Luke has an idea. He tells them to disengage the computer and to transfer all control to him. Leia is saying, "Luke, the pattern, it's tightening, Luke!" And that's when Luke, just as he did on the Death Star, begins to fade away from conscious thought. He becomes one with the Force, and the tiny ship dances in response, twisting, altering directions with eye-blink swiftness until they are able to get out of the minefield just as the mines collide with one another, and they make their way safely. In thanks and elation, Leia kisses him again. "Seriously, guys, stop kissing! Stop kissing!" They are finally back to Yavin 4. They see Tag's ship there, but they don't know exactly what's going on. Both of them decide to do some spying. They put on spacesuits and land on the nearby rocky planetoid to try and find out more about Tag's ship. Tag is releasing TIE fighters. They are going directly into Yavin, which is a gas giant. Luke is saying this is a suicide mission. They should not be able to survive. Yet somehow they are able to safely sink into the tumult of the gas giant. Leia is surmising that something is inside the gas giant that is creating and controlling the storms. This could be the secret location where the TIE fighters have been coming from. They make their way back to the ship. They've got to warn the rebellion what's going on here, but now 2 TIE fighters have located their ship. Luke is surmising that when they first arrived must have been right when the patrol had gone by, but now they are in the perfect position to be caught. Before they can do anything, one of the TIE fighters has already taken out their engine, and C-3PO is telling them, "The communication system, sir. Calling for aid is now impossible, not unlike the odds on our survival." And as the 2 TIE fighters close in, they begin to fire, and that ends Star Wars number 25. Things are about to get real. We're back on Yavin, and we need to see how they will possibly survive staying there when they should have left a long time ago. I don't know what's up with you Rebellion guys. I mean, come on. Don't you know about Hoth? Hoth is lovely this time of year. Why should you go to Hoth? If you'd like to see the panels from today's comic, you can go to voxboxcomics.com/episode 25. You have a wonderful day, and may the Force be with you.
No! You failed, Your Highness. I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
So be it, Jedi.
Thank you for listening to the Vox Box Star Wars podcast. Go to voxboxpodcast.com to see panels from today's comic. Have a great day, and may the Force be with you.
Check us out at sw7x7.com or on iTunes, Stitcher, or your favorite podcatching app. Search for Star Wars 7x7.